He would need to play at least 5 more years to reach 40,000. What LeBron has done might not be duplicated, at least not anytime soon. No debates, no speculation, just the info you need. That's your KBLA Sports Minute. I'm Ray Richardson on KBLA Talk 1580.
All I need is one mic.
With a KBLA Talk 1580 editorial, I'm Tavis Smiley. Recently, the Washington Post ran a major story which in sum reveals that racial discrimination in jury selection persists in America. Most often, the practice occurs through a legal tactic called peremptory challenge, which allows an attorney to strike a potential juror without having to state a reason. In the 1986 Batson Doctrine, the U.S. Supreme Court ruled that the use of peremptory challenges to exclude potential jurors solely based on their race violates the Equal Protection Clause of the 14th Amendment. By the way, the late great Supreme Court Justice Thurgood Marshall despised peremptory challenges. New data in the Washington Post story underscores that nearly 40 years after the Batson decision, the problem remains widespread. One study in the Deep South found that black jurors are being challenged and dismissed at double and triple the rates of other prospective jurors. Bottom line, it's racist, it's wrong, and it's pervasive, even as research shows that racially diverse juries spend more time deliberating, make fewer errors, and can result in fairer trials. One of the arguments in the Ninth Circuit appeal, brought by former LA City Councilman Mark Ridley Thomas, is about violation of that Batson Doctrine. In its case against MRT, the U.S. Attorney's Office struck black women from the jury pool based on demeanor and employment status, a clear violation of the law. A long list of high-profile black law professors, historians, and justice centers have now filed amicus briefs in support of MRT's position. But the irony of a black elected official who for more than 3 decades represented the best interests of his black constituents, having black women voters struck from his jury pool is repugnant and morally wrong. So much for being judged by a jury of your peers. MRT's legal team argues correctly in its filing that given well-established law and legal principles set forth by the Supreme Court, Ninth Circuit, and state courts and legislatures, the Ninth Circuit should likewise reaffirm and clearly state that applying facially neutral justifications in discriminatory ways to target black women and other protected groups presumptively violates Batson. I couldn't agree more. For KBLA Talk 1580, I'm Tavis Smiley. We welcome your comments.
And this is what it feels like. And this is what it feels like. Look, the only reason I survive, cause it's special first. You get successful, then it gets stressful thirst. Gonna test you, see what your texture's worth. Diamonds and pipes, one of them pressure burst. Street, still I get checks and spurts. I'm for peace, but before I get pressed, I murk. Better days prayed for, but expecting worse. At this level, boy, I'm just less concerned. Cruising in the 6, looking at the proceeds of rap music on my wrist. Drop another mixtape, my booming out this young Malcolm. I'm the leader of the movement out this love. And this is what it feels like. Reach a level, make you question, is it real life? All of good, all of real tight. And the only rule, keep your dollar bills right.
I'm Tavis Smiley, and I'm thrilled to have you hanging out with us in this third and final hour today. I just showed Larry Elder the exit door, the back exit door. That was quite the hour. I've seen many of your comments. I see your comments. It was interesting, maybe even a bit entertaining. But every now and then we got to go tete-a-tete, toe-to-toe, face-to-face with folk on the other side of the political aisle. And if nothing else, it allows you to see what the other side thinks, what they're up to, and the way they process things. Doesn't make much sense to me. But sometimes it's just good to expose the other side. It's not even about winning the fight sometimes. Just asking questions and letting them answer. They expose themselves, and we go on about our business. doing our unapologetically progressive thing. So what an hour that was with Larry Elder. Thank God for Jesus. That's over. Let's move on. In this hour, Bronx rapper Kimba is our guest, and he talks about his new documentary, As We Speak, which exposes the racism behind criminalizing rap lyrics. Here now, a taste of the documentary, As We Speak.
How do you feel about that name now in the context of the criminalization of rap music and lyrics?
I love my name because I earned it. I didn't seek to be Killer Mike. It was bestowed upon me after battle. I wouldn't have gave myself that name because it's damn near crazy for a black man to call himself Killer. So,
I feel that.
I just knew that it was important for me that I express myself through art. And I went to school during the Reagan era and explosion of the crack epidemic. Rap validated that I wasn't insane. As a kid, I'm seeing things that people aren't acknowledging. You know, Nancy Reagan with that just say no shit. Like, get the out of here. I know that my neighbor who used to have a great job should not be standing on the corner this year. So this is beyond just say no. This is an epidemic of sorts. And rap is the only thing that validated that. When I said 6 in the morning, police at my door, fresh Shadida squeak across the bathroom floor, out the back windows where I made my escape, didn't even have the chance to grab my old school tape. When I heard that right now, I still get chills because that's actually the life that I started to see black teenage boys leading. And no one was acknowledging that except for rappers.
Killer Mike is one of the many voices in this documentary, As We Speak. You cannot go wrong with Mike on any documentary. He had quite the night this year on the Grammy Awards. I'm still celebrating. The drama notwithstanding, still celebrating the amazing night that Killer Mike had earlier this year at the Grammys, and I am pleased to welcome Kimba on to this program. Kimba, how are you today, sir?
Life is amazing. I can't complain. How about you?
Man, if I complained, I'd be an ingrate. So you and I are in the same, we in the same situation. I'm just grateful to be here, man. Grateful to be alive, grateful to be on air, and grateful to be in conversation with you about this amazing documentary. Before we get too deep into it, just tell me, I got a lot of questions. Obviously, glad I got you for the hour. Before we get too deep into it, tell me why you set out to do this documentary As We Speak.
So I was contacted by the director, J.M. Harper, and he told me about this documentary that he was doing based on this book called Rap on Trial, co-written by Eric Nielsen. And so I took a look at the book, and it was really eye-opening. A lot of people sort of know that rap lyrics are being used in this way, but we don't know to the extent. We don't know how it's being used. A lot of people that I talked to, and me included, at first think it's just as simple as A to B. Like, this is a crime that happened. You said you did this in a song, and so you should be convicted for it. And the vast majority of the time, it's not. It's a more insidious process. It's like them taking a line from here, a line from there, and creating their own story to convince a jury and a judge that that you're guilty. Yeah. And so I saw that. I knew it was necessary. Yeah.
Just getting started in this hour with the Bronx rapper Kimba talking about this documentary, As We Speak, which exposes the racism behind criminalizing rap lyrics. You just heard Killer Mike a moment ago. There's a great deal more to talk about in this hour as we assess whether or not rap is still on trial in America. More of Kimba when we come forward on Tavis Smiley.
Interrogating and unpacking. That's what we do around here. You're listening to Tavis Smiley.
What is dedication?
My biggest fear in the middle of my addiction was that my kids wouldn't have a father. And I started thinking, you know what? This isn't my story. I definitely had to become a better man to be a better father. It's important to me that my kids are empowered and truly believe that if they can think it, they can do it.
That's dedication. Visit fatherhood.gov to hear more. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services and the Ad Council.
Joey from Vermont, a farmer trying to get through the winter. Adriana from South Carolina, a single mother living paycheck to paycheck. Liam from Ohio, an injured father struggling to provide for his family. Hi, I'm Shanola Hampton, and I support the Feeding America network of food banks because they help provide over 6 billion meals to people in need each year. Learn more at feedingamerica.org.
Los Angeles County needs a new district attorney.
I'm Jeff Chemerinsky, and I'm running for district attorney. I have served as chief of the Violent and Organized Crime section of the Los Angeles United States Attorney's Office. I've never lost a case. I have experience managing large teams of lawyers and staff, and I've done it in the largest federal judicial district in the nation. I've been endorsed by civil rights attorney Connie Rice, by former LA County Supervisor Yvonne Braithwaite Burke, and by the New Frontier Democratic Club, the oldest and largest African-American Democratic club in California. I'm a lifelong Democrat. As your next district attorney, I'll do everything I can to make our community safer and reform our justice system for every community in Los Angeles.
Jeff Chemerinsky, Democrat for district attorney, endorsed by the leaders we trust. Our community can trust Jeff Chemerinsky to stand up for us. Vote by March 5th. Paid for by Jeff Chemerinsky for District Attorney 2024.
It's never been faster or easier to be a voter. Look for your vote by mail ballot in the mail. Fill it in and drop it off at a mailbox on your way to work, on your daily walk, or when dropping the kids off at school. Save time and vote early. Make a plan to vote at plan.lavote.gov. That's plan.lavote.gov. Brought to you by the Los Angeles County Registrar.
Watch out! You got me!
The galaxy is safe once again.
In the pretend universe, kids play with pretend guns. In the real world, it's up to us to make sure they don't get their hands on a real gun. If you have a gun in the house, keep it locked, unloaded, and stored separately from ammunition. Safe gun storage saves lives. Learn how to make your home safer at endfamilyfire.org. That's endfamilyfire.org. Brought to you by End Family Fire, Brady, and the Ad Council.
Helping to make you the most knowledgeable person in your circle of friends. This is Tavis Smiley.
Tavis Smiley in conversation with Bronx rapper, the Boogie Down, Kimba, about a new documentary called As We Speak. A lot of great voices, including Kimba's, in this documentary. And it really is putting a spotlight on the racism behind criminalizing rap lyrics. And Kimba was just starting to unpack for us how, in fact, this happens far too often in our society. Let me just ask, broadly speaking, Kimba, whether or not you think all these years later, because this ain't the first time in my career I've had a conversation, of course, about rap lyrics on trial. But here we are now, past the 50th anniversary of this amazing genre, which is obviously hegemonic around the globe. Everybody is in the rap game. Everybody loves hip hop music, et cetera, et cetera. So it's hegemonic these days. And so the question is whether or not all these years later, 50 plus years later, is it your assessment that rap is still, or certainly rap lyrics are still on trial?
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's happening now more than ever because it's sort of become well known how effective it is. Once you can brand someone as a rapper, and once you can bring the lyrics, once you can find the loophole and bring the lyrics in, you can really convince a jury that this is not a good person, even if the lyrics that you're bringing in don't give the details of the exact crime that they're on trial for.
Mm-hmm. When you say it's effective, unpack that for me. You say effective more now so than ever. Effective how?
Just in the studies sort of show that when the lyrics are introduced in court, it's almost always leads to a conviction. Mm-hmm. And so it's brought in these sort of insidious ways. They're not allowed to use it as character evidence now. Character evidence is when they bring in the lyrics to sort of tell the jury or make the jury believe that this is a bad person. Like if you can pretty much take any rapper's lines and convince somebody that, if they would say this, what makes you think they wouldn't do this? And so they're trying to ban that, but they're still finding loopholes to bring it in anyway. And once they do, it almost always leads to a conviction.
Yep. This is not a question that this is a question I'm sure rather that you're not being asked for the first time. I'm sure you've been in many conversations about this, but I want to hear your take on it. Why do we do rap music this way and not rock music this way? Why is it always rap and never rock?
Because it's racist.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's the simple, the easiest answer. But it gets complicated too. I think rap is one of the art forms where it sort of pays to be real. Like it's entertainment in a way that a movie is entertainment. Mm-hmm. And there's are paid and praised to convince us that they are not the actor, they are the character. But in music, that realness is seen as literal, and there's a sense there that obviously racist again that Black people are not capable of these sort of artistic perspectives, are not capable of metaphor, are not capable of these literary devices, and the things that we say are literal, and also a general bias,
Mm-hmm.
a general prejudice that's always present.
Yeah. There are a couple questions there, and again, I'm not naive in asking this question, and it may very well be that your answer is the same, and if it is, I'll receive it. But I'm wondering what it is about this music that has created such a bias against it inside the criminal justice system. We're talking about, again, this documentary As We Speak, which exposes literally the ways in which racism behind, I should say, criminalizing rap lyrics. This is a serious documentary, and it really delves into criminal cases where rap lyrics have been entered as evidence and people have been found guilty. This is a serious reality that happens far too often in this country. So here's my question. My question is, what do you think has happened, or why is it that inside the criminal justice system there is a bias against this music? But it's the same music, as I said earlier, that's hegemonic around the globe. Everybody's checking for it. Everybody's listening to it. Most of the music, as you well know, is bought by white kids these days. That's been true for quite some time now. And yet on the inside of the criminal justice system, there is a bias against it. Can you juxtapose those two things for me? It's the most popular thing out there, but inside the criminal justice system, it's weaponized, if I can put it that way.
Yeah, there's two ways to answer that question.
Okay.
One, the first is that is the very reason why we see and we explore it in the film that this is like rap music is not the first time this is happening. Like this spans back to all Black genres of music, which is basically all the genres of music. And the sort of ability to bring people together and to have people that are not Black relate to the Black perspective is what makes it so scary to that side, to the legal system. The second way to answer that question is, again, bringing in the lyrics to a case is so effective that anyone that writes, like if we think about what a professional rapper is, or what do you think makes somebody a rapper? If they're not making money off of it, then that just means they're writing. We all know somebody that writes, and so if they can tag you as a rapper, and then they sort of trigger these prejudices and biases that makes it so easy for them to win the case. A lot of times it's just about winning, and so they'll do this to people that have regular jobs, families that just sort of write on the side or have aspirations, but they'll label them as a rapper to bolster their case.
Yep. There's a question here that's just looming large in this dialogue, Kimber, that I'll get to in a moment. Let me tee it up now, and that is the question of whether or not you believe, how might I put this, that rap music is pregnant with that kind of power. Does rap music really have that kind of influence to make people do X, Y, and Z, as is often argued in these cases, to your point, successfully? That's what the documentary, as we speak, is all about. But is any music genre, is any music form, is hip-hop really that powerful that it convinces people to do X, Y, or Z, and find themselves on trial and found guilty because the music? I'm thinking now, you're too young to remember this, Kimba, but I'm thinking now of the late, great comedian Flip Wilson, who had a character who always said, the devil made me do it. The devil made me do it. So I'm wondering whether or not the devil inside of these rap lyrics apparently makes people do certain things. We'll come to that question in just a moment. I just want to put that out there. It was on my mind. The question I want to ask first, though, Kimba, given what you've just said moments ago, is that while this documentary looks at the racism, exposes again the racism behind criminalizing rap lyrics, to your point, this is not the first time in history that black music, or race music as they once called it, has been put upon in this way. And I'm glad you said that, because my mind went immediately, I just gave a speech about this a few weeks ago during Black History Month. My mind went immediately, Kimba, to Billie Holiday and the ways in which Billie Holiday was criminalized, and I mean locked up, sent to jail. Every time in certain places she would stand up to sing that song, Strange Fruit, she got criminalized. So to your brilliant point, this ain't the first time this has happened. They did it to Billie Holiday around the song Strange Fruit. That's a long way of asking whether or not you think we can draw a line from Billie Holiday and even prior to Billie Holiday to this present moment featured in this documentary as we speak.
Absolutely. And I want to ask you, why do you think it was that song specifically, Strange Fruit? What makes you?
The lyrics, man. It's the lyrics. It's the lyrics. The lyrics. Yeah. The lyrics. And the irony is, and let me since you asked, let me just go there. So I was asked to give a talk a couple weeks ago at a major event here in Los Angeles, where this program is headquartered. We're heard across the country, of course, but I'm based in L.A. And it was a huge event sponsored by a place called the Skirball Center. The Skirball Center is a major Jewish outpost here in Los Angeles, and they had a big event featuring blacks and Jews, an event bringing blacks and Jews together in the entertainment industry. So it's a big entertainment gathering of a lot of powerful black folk and a lot of powerful Jews at this gathering at the Skirball Center. And they asked me to come and have words, and I agreed to do so. And I covered a lot of ground, but one of the points I made was what can happen when black creatives and Jewish creatives come together. I talked about how explosive that creativity can be. I talked about how explosive that artistic collaboration can be. I talked about how dangerous, how disruptive that kind of collaboration can be. And my Exhibit A, of course, was Martin Luther King Jr. and Rabbi Abraham Joshua Heschel, and what they were able to do creatively during the Civil Rights era. But specifically in the entertainment industry, I talked about Billie Holiday in this song, Strange Fruit, which was written by a Jewish brother named Maripol. So the lyrics are written the lyrics are written by a Jewish brother. It's performed by a black woman, of course, Billie Holiday. And the two of them came together, and that thing was so explosive, so disruptive. That song was it interrogated what was happening in that present moment for our people so creatively. I mean, that's one word. So creatively, number one, but also in a way that sort of put people on their heels, that it got her in trouble. I mean, I was saying that night in the talk, I cannot think, and maybe you can, Kimber. I mean, I'm thinking about NWA and the song that got them in trouble when they were on tour back in the day. But it's hard to come up with a whole lot of examples of music that is so powerful that people don't want you and they would not let you sing it. They arrested NWA for singing that song. They arrested Billie Holiday for singing that song. That's a serious thing. I mean, every artist, it seems to me, should think about what it means to do something that is so creative, so disruptive that people can't even handle the truth in your lyrics. That's a long answer to your short question. What was the problem? The problem was the truth in the lyric and her delivery of the song. That's what got her in trouble, Kimberly.
1,000%. And I'll invite the question to anyone listening. Like, do you think that would have happened if the writer of the song was the one singing it, if they would have got locked up?
See, I never thought about that. That's why you're Kimber. That's why you're Kimber, brother. I never quite. Well, first of all, if Mary Paul had been singing it, he couldn't have done what Billie Holiday did. First of all, he ain't but one Billie Holiday, so we know he wouldn't have had a Billie Holiday rendition of it to begin with. But I take your point. If somebody other than a black person had been singing that song, if it would have had the same response, which leads me now to flip that question back on you. If all of these rap lyrics for which people are being dragged into court and being found guilty because of the music and this argument that the devil made them do it, if the persons being dragged in were primarily white and not black or brown, would they be convicted?
I mean, I don't think so. When we see that in other genres of music, rap is not the only genre of music that talks about violence. America itself has an appetite for violence, and so entertainment reflects that. But they're only targeting black and brown people. So, no, I can't imagine. I can't even imagine that would happen to white rappers.
Let me ask you that question that I posed a couple minutes ago and give you a chance to respond to it now. And that is whether or not, as an artist, and it's really a two-part question. I tend not to ask two-part questions. I don't want people to get lost. Let me put both parts out there, and we'll work our way through it in the time that we have. So the first question is, as an artist, not as a critic, not as a consumer, as an artist, one, do you think that your music, do you think that rap music is pregnant with the kind of power to make people just magically, mysteriously, without any agency, do certain things that are harmful to others? Is it pregnant with that kind of power, number one? And number two, as an artist, do you ever think about that when you're writing your stuff? I know you got a new project out, a new single that's out now called Hear No Evil. It's from your forthcoming project called The Mess We Made. So the single is called Hear No Evil. The project coming soon is called The Mess We Made. I'm looking at my clock. I don't want to make a mess of this conversation. So I'm going to ask you to hold your responses to those two questions when we come forward, because giving you 30 seconds wouldn't be fair to address not even one, let alone two questions. So the questions I want to put to Kimber when we come forward is, number one, as an artist, does he think that his music has that kind of power, that kind of sway over people's feelings and emotions and movements? And as an artist, as he's sitting down writing lyrics for a track like Hear No Evil, does he consider the impact that those lyrics might have on those who are listening? I suspect Stevie Wonder is okay when he writes lyrics knowing that it's going to make some babies, make people fall in love. He, Charlie Wilson, a bunch of other folks. So that's the frame that they're in. What's your frame? We'll talk about that. The documentary is called As We Speak. It's a powerful piece exposing the racism behind criminalizing rap lyrics in this country. It features a number of people, including the Bronx rapper Kimber, who's our guest right now on Tavis Smiley.
For all the freedom-loving folk, this is Tavis Smiley.
I feel like freedom.
If you're like me, 60 and retired, making ends meet, especially here at the supermarket and drugstore, is tough. I'm so blessed to have found benefitscheckup.org. It's a free and confidential website from the National Council on Aging that connected me to $1,200 a year in programs that help pay for food, medicine, utilities, and more. Maybe it can help you. benefitscheckup.org.
My daughter was diagnosed with a rare malignant rhabdoid tumor on the spine. They sent her straight to St. Jude. My hope was gone. But when you get there, everyone's like, hey, we're not going to give up. And when you see other people not giving up on your child, that makes all the difference in the world. When I found out I didn't have to pay, I was just grateful. They saved my baby's life.
Finding cures, saving children. Learn more at stjude.org.
I'm Mike Moore. Here's the latest from the Black Information Network. Former President Trump will remain on the presidential primary ballot in Colorado. The state Supreme Court earlier ruled to remove Trump from the ballot, claiming he was an insurrectionist when he incited the January 6th U.S. Capitol riot. The U.S. Supreme Court ruled unanimously in the decision. In its decision, the court said the responsibility for enforcing Section 3 of the 14th Amendment against federal office holders and candidates rests with Congress, not the states. Vice President Kamala Harris will meet with Israeli War Cabinet member Benny Gantz at the White House a day after she called for an immediate ceasefire in the Israel-Hamas war in the Gaza Strip. A White House official says Harris will reiterate that civilian casualties must be reduced. And that's the latest. I'm Mike Moore from your 24/7 news source, the Black Information Network, and BINnews.com.
The link between Los Angeles and 6 Southern California counties, MetroLink, is your transportation link between the people and places you care about. Whichever link you're making, MetroLink will be your in-between. Visit MetroLinkTrains.com.
This is the KBLA Sports Minute with Ray Richardson.
The Clippers won a tough game at Minnesota on Sunday against the number 2 team in the Western Conference. The Clippers held on for a 1-point win in a game where neither team scored more than 90, and James Harden was 0 for 10 from the floor. Kawhi Leonard sank 2 free throws with 13 seconds left to seal it. Kawhi finished with a game-high 32. The Clippers are at Milwaukee tonight. The Lakers are back in action tonight at home against Oklahoma City. A follow-up to LeBron reaching 40,000 regular season points on Saturday. The closest active player to LeBron is Kevin Durant. In 17 seasons, Durant has scored 28,372 points. If Durant maintains his 27.7 average, and that's a big if, he would need to play at least 5 more years to reach 40,000. What LeBron has done might not be duplicated, at least not anytime soon. No debates, no speculation, just the info you need. That's your KBLA Sports Minute. I'm Ray Richardson on KBLA Talk 1580.
If you're looking for the most epic place on earth, let's start at the base of a massive waterfall. Then trek through the thick jungle. Then climb to the peak of a snowy mountaintop. Then once you get there, keep going. Because with intelligent 4x4 and 7 drive modes and a Nissan Pathfinder, the search is the real adventure.
Available feature. Intelligent 4x4 cannot prevent collisions or provide enhanced traction in all conditions. Always monitor traffic and weather conditions.
You're listening to KBLA Talk 1580, where climate is king. Climate is king.
California just launched the Certified Wellness Coach profession to help your workforce meet the increased demands for youth mental health services. Learn more at cawellnesscoach.org, supported by the California Department of Health Care Access and Information.
At Lowe's, save big every day when you buy in bulk. Save 15% when you buy 10 or more select primed finger joint boards. And there's more. Save 10% on your choice of any 5 or more Reliabuilt lock sets. Visit us in-store or online for low prices on the materials you need. Because Lowe's knows savings. Lowe's knows pros. Selection varies by location. While supplies last. Discount taken at time of purchase. See sales associate for details.
I can't believe tax season is here already. Look at all this info I have to enter.
Phil's small accounting firm is growing in numbers.
Why didn't I take that typing class in high school?
A data entry specialist could really help him in a crunch.
I got blisters on my fingers.
Indeed can help him hire great people fast.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. You can schedule and conduct virtual interviews all from your employer dashboard. Visit Indeed.com/credit and get $75 towards your first sponsored job. Terms and conditions apply.
Hey, what are you doing up on the step stool?
About to clean these light fixtures. The whole family's coming over, and if there's even a speck of dust in the house, my abuela will find it.
Here, I got a Swiffer duster to help with that.
A Swiffer what?
A Swiffer duster. It has this cool extendable handle that reaches 6 feet to get high and low, with fluffy dusters that easily trap and lock dust.
So, no more step stool?
No more step stool.
Easily trap and lock dust from hard-to-reach places with the Swiffer duster. Love it or your money back.
We've got a lot to talk about.
Are you interested in catching up on all the latest entertainment news, trending topics, and exciting interviews? I got you. Tune in to The Raw Report with Robin Ayers, Monday through Friday, 6 to 7 p.m. I'm your host, Robin Ayers. Join me every weekday with some of the best entertainment contributors in the business as we break down what's going on, who's got next, and what not to miss. Only on The Raw Report with Robin Ayers.
Unapologetically progressive. KBLA Talk 1580. We've got your black. Mayfrest Daily in the Mert Park, Los Angeles, California. You're listening to Tavis Smiley.
Tavis Smiley and the Bronx rapper Kimba, as we continue our dialogue now about this new documentary that features some amazing voices like Kimba, Killer Mike, and the list goes on and on and on. A number of amazing voices in this documentary called As We Speak, which sheds a light, exposes the racism behind criminalizing rap lyrics. You'd be amazed when you see this documentary at the cases all across this country where rap lyrics have been at the epicenter of deciding somebody's guilt or innocence, and what made them behave in the way that they behave. And so in many respects, rap lyrics, hip-hop, has been taking it on the chin for quite some time now when it comes to the impact, the influence it has over those who move in certain ways. Kimba made the point earlier in this conversation, a powerful point. This is not the first time we've been down this road. And I don't mean just with hip-hop. We've been talking about it for 50 years. I'm going back to the C. Dolores Tucker days. I was on BET then when C. Dolores Tucker was doing her thing. And I'm thinking of Tipper Gore, the wife of former Vice President Al Gore, and her thing that she was doing. So I've been in this conversation more times than I can count over the 30 years of my career, talking about hip-hop and rap lyrics and the influence that they may or may not have and putting labels on the music. I've been at this conversation for 30 years about this particular music. But this documentary takes a long view of the ways in which the genre has been demonized and vilified and frankly criminalized, literally. And again, the documentary is called As We Speak, and I'm delighted to have Kimba, the Bronx rapper, as our guest in this hour for the rest of the hour. So, Kimba, those two questions that I posed before the break, I'll now stand down and give you as much time as you need to respond to. The first question was and is whether or not you think that this music really does have that kind of power over the actions of everyday people, as opposed to other music genres. And secondly, I'm curious as to your process when you are sitting. I mentioned earlier you got a new project that's dropping called The Mess We Made. The new single is out now. It's called Hear No Evil. As an artist, do you consider this? Do you think you have any responsibility in it? How do you approach your lyrical content in terms of the impact that it might have on those who listen to it? Those are my two questions. I'm going to shut up and let you take it, brother.
To your first question, music is extremely powerful. You know, there was a quote that I heard recently and said, "Music doesn't need permission to enter your spirit." And so, music can make us or help us do a lot of things. Relate to somebody that we thought was completely different from us, or energize you to push through a workout, dance, clean on Sundays, like you said before, make you want to make love. Like, music can influence us and energize us to do a lot of things. But I don't think it can make you do something you don't want to do. It can't make you do something that is not like that. It's not a resonance, a frequency, like in resonance to you. And so now I don't think hip hop is any different in that way than any other art form. But I think it's a difficult line to walk, and I'll even be critical of a culture that I love. Like, so if we're doing what all music has done, which is sort of documenting or expressing what it is like to be in the environments and the conditions that we come up in, how can we do that without desensitizing people or glorifying it when every piece of entertainment that we see and that people seem to like is glorifying violence. You know, we have, like I said before, we have an appetite for violence, and so as a country, even globally at this point, there's an appetite for violence in our entertainment, video games and TV shows and music and movies everywhere, and so in hip hop, we're sort of expected to still be real, entertaining, and all of this trend setting, but not speak honestly about the conditions that we come up in. I personally would love if there was a way to do that without glorifying to the extent of sort of desensitization. but that's a difficult line. So now we're getting really into the nitty gritty, into the nuances of what artists do. And for me, I can do that because I can control my own art. And that kind of goes into the second question. I do see the responsibility in my own art to sort of walk a fine line between telling it exactly how it is, but not glorifying to the point of desensitization.
Yeah. As you're talking, I'm thinking, and you ran a long list. I mean, your list is much better than mine. I just threw a couple of examples out, but you ran a long list of all the things that music does, in fact, have the power, the sway to make us do. Beyond making love, to your point, cleaning house on Sunday and all the other things on your list that I won't attempt to repeat. It was a pretty good list. But the question is, and I'm not a psychologist. I'm not a psychiatrist. I'm not a therapist. That's not what I do, and neither are you. But it did occur to me as you ran that list, Kimba, that if music has the power to make us do all those other things, ... You see my point? If it makes us do those other things, we're pushing back on this argument that it makes people do things that they shouldn't do. We're pushing back on the argument that hip hop. Rap lyrics should not be criminalized in courtrooms across this country, as we delve into in this documentary as we speak about the ways that rap music has been, in fact, been criminalized. But if it makes us do all this other stuff, one could press on the argument, well, why would it not make you do other things? Does that make sense?
Yeah, of course. But then it's like we have to zoom out and like what does. Are we going to ban Grand Theft Auto? Are we going to ban heavy metal, rock and roll, pop, movies, Quentin Tarantino films? The world that we live in is the world that that is satiating our appetite for violence while creating more of it. And so, to look at rap with a sort of magnifying glasses, disingenuous, and it tends to happen because we're black.
Yeah. One of the other arguments that I have heard time and time again, and again having conversations like these over the course of my career, I'm happy to have this one again because this documentary being out called As We Speak, which again looks at the ways in which rap lyrics have been put upon criminally in this country, the way that people have been locked up because of rap music. It's a sad story. And yet, again, I've had this part of the conversation time and time again, and that is why it is that even if you're going to criminalize the music, you criminalize individuals, you criminalize certain persons, but not the industry writ large. What I'm getting at is that this music is produced by somebody. And so if, and this documentary explores this, you end up going to court and they you were listening to rap music when you did what you did, and somebody uses that to get you in trouble. They come after you, but they never really address the issue of the industry behind making this music. Somebody's making a lot of money off of this. We'll talk about that part of the conversation. We'll get to that part of the conversation when we come forward, talking about this new documentary As We Speak, featuring a number of great artists, including Kimba. More with him when we come forward on Tavis Smiley.
From Leimert Park with love, this is Tavis Smiley.
What is dedication?
My biggest fear in the middle of my addiction was that my kids wouldn't have a father. And I started thinking, you know what? This isn't my story. I definitely had to become a better man to be a better father. It's important to me that my kids are empowered and truly believe that if they can think it, they can do it.
That's dedication. Visit fatherhood.gov to hear more. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services and the Ad Council.
Joey from Vermont, a farmer trying to get through the winter. Adriana from South Carolina, a single mother living paycheck to paycheck. Liam from Ohio, an injured father struggling to provide for his family. Hi, I'm Shanola Hampton, and I support the Feeding America network of food banks because they help provide over 6 billion meals to people in need each year. Learn more at feedingamerica.org.
If you love to travel, Capital One has a rewards credit card that's perfect for you.
With Venture X, earn unlimited double miles on everything you buy and turn everyday purchases into extraordinary trips. Plus, receive premium travel benefits like access to over 1,300 airport lounges where you just check in and chill out. Open up a world of possibilities with Capital One. What's in your wallet?
Terms apply. Lounge access is subject to change. See CapitalOne.com for details.
eBay Motors is here for the ride. Go ahead, feel your engine. Admire that perfectly installed exhaust. Your vehicle's moving along this freeway like it was made from fresh installs and a whole lot of love. With eBay Motors, you get over 122 million parts to keep it running. And with eBay Guaranteed Fit, they'll be the perfect fit every time. Plus, at these prices, well, we're burning rubber, not cash. Keep your ride or die alive at ebaymotors.com. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply.
Hey, I have a secret. I use Secret Whole Body Deodorant because more than just my armpits stink.
Oh, can I use it where my bra rubs under my...
Oh, yeah.
And what about down there? You know, my...
Totally. 4 out of 5 gynecologists would recommend it. So I tried it, and now I get 72 hours of freshness from my pits to my...
Ooh, I love that it's a spray.
Me too. And it comes in sticks and creams, too. Go get your Secret Whole Body Deodorant.
Sometimes we lose, sometimes we win. Sometimes we try to fit it all in. Sometimes we don't know what's in store. Sometimes we find what we're looking for. Sometimes we're rolling easy and free. Sometimes 1 and 1 makes 3. So much to love along this ride. That's why Nationwide is on your side.
Nationwide Mutual Insurance Company and Affiliates, Columbus, Ohio.
Let's get back to more of this rich dialogue with Tavis Smiley.
More of our conversation with Kimba, Bronx rapper who was featured in this documentary as we speak, taking a look at the ways in which this music, rap lyrics, has been criminalized over the years. I mentioned a moment ago, Kimba, that when we find ourselves in these cases, they will go after an individual, but they don't necessarily go after the industry, the people behind really making all the music off of this. Let me read a quote right quick here. We all know the name Fonnie Willis. Fonnie Willis is the black DA in Fulton County in Atlanta, Georgia, who's in some trouble of her own these days, but she's the black woman bringing this case against Donald Trump. And we all know, again, the drama that she is in right now about this relationship that she had with a special prosecutor that she hired. But this is Fonnie Willis, a black woman, quoting from her. It's her office that's bringing this case against Young Thug and other YSL members. This is a quote. She said, I think if you decide to admit your crimes over a beat, I'm going to use it. She told reporters back in August. I'm going to continue to do that. People can continue to be angry about it. I have some legal advice. Don't confess to crimes on a rap lyric if you don't want them used, or at least get out of my country. That's Fonnie Willis talking about being a DA and using these rap lyrics to get people convicted. Your thoughts on that?
I think on the surface, it makes sense. But I think that's a sort of gross misrepresentation of what's happening.
Right.
Most of the time, it's not A to B. It's not somebody was shot on 45th Street and the words in the song was "I shot somebody on 45th Street."
Mm-hmm.
That's not what happened.
Yeah.
It's usually taking a line from here, taking a line from here, and piecing a story together, or taking lines that don't have anything to do with what actually happened, and using those things to convince the jury that this is the type of person that is capable of the crime that they're on trial for.
Yeah. No, that's an old case, of course. I only referenced that. I mean, to be clear, I referenced it because not because the case is happening right now, but because Fonnie Willis is in the news right now, and we all know her name. I wanted people just to hear her on this particular issue. We know what she has to say about Donald Trump, but here's a black DA, and so the point is, it's not even just these ain't just white people. He's a black DA in Fulton County, who is making it very clear that if she can use rap lyrics to get a conviction, she will do it. I hear your point. I hear Kimba's point that it's a gross over generalization. It's way too broad. But again, I just wanted to share with the audience that there are black DAs, no less of the stature of Fonnie Willis, who have said on the record that they will use a rap lyric in a heartbeat if they can, if it leads to a conviction. There you have it. Our remaining moments with Kimba talking about this new documentary as we speak when we come forward on Tavis Smiley.
Unapologetically progressive. Unapologetically black. You're tapped into Tavis Smiley.
If you're like me, 60 and retired, making ends meet, especially here at the supermarket and drugstore, is tough. I'm so blessed to have found benefitscheckup.org. It's a free and confidential website from the National Council on Aging that connected me to $1,200 a year in programs that help pay for food, medicine, utilities, and more. Maybe it can help you. benefitscheckup.org.
My daughter was diagnosed with a rare malignant rhabdoid tumor on the spine. They sent her straight to St. Jude. My hope was gone. But when you get there, everyone's like, hey, we're not going to give up. And when you see other people not giving up on your child, that makes all the difference in the world. When I found out I didn't have to pay, I was just grateful. They saved my baby's life.
Finding cures, saving children. Learn more at stjude.org.
The thing no one tells you about periods is that your flow changes every day, and so should your tampon size. Tampax has 5 absorbencies to match your changing flow. If it hurts to remove, go down a size. If it leaks, go up a size. Only Tampax has a leak guard braid to help give you up to 100% leak and odor-free protection. All-day comfort and protection for under $5 a month. Based on average U.S. consumer usage at manufacturer's suggested price. However, pricing is at the sole discretion of the retailer. Excludes 8-count packs.
KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
KBLA Talk 1580 believes in community empowerment. LA's 99 neighborhood councils form the grassroots level of the Los Angeles city government. The system was created to connect LA's diverse communities to City Hall. While neighborhood council board members are volunteers, they are also public officials elected to office by the members of their community. Neighborhood councils advocate on issues like homelessness, housing, land use, emergency preparedness, public safety, parks, transportation, and sustainability. They also provide local expertise on the delivery of city services to their various communities. Neighborhood councils are open to participation by anyone who is a part of the fabric of daily life in said community. This includes those who live, work, or own property or a business. If you are interested in stepping up to join your local neighborhood council, visit www.empowerla.org. That's empowerla.org. It's time to think globally, but act locally. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
Febreze. So my home is also my office, and before I can focus, every room's gotta be clean. That means tidying up and spraying my Febreze Air Mist. Ooh, that's fresh. Febreze Air Mist scents are all high quality. They fight any weird funk, and they give my air an instant boost of freshness. So not only does my home smell good, I feel good too. After I Febreze, it's time to start my day. Breathe happy, Febreze, la 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 la.
Sounds different, huh? This is Tavis Smiley.
Tavis Smiley and Kimba talking about the new documentary As We Speak, which exposes the racism behind criminalizing rap lyrics. About 5 minutes left here. Let me do a couple things before I give Kimba the last word here. I want to quote from Emerson Sykes, who's an attorney for the American Civil Liberties Union, the ACLU, who specializes in First Amendment cases. And he says that with rap music, there is a propensity to skip the full analysis of whether it's truly relevant, the lyrics that is, and whether there's really a clear nexus between the content of the expression and the specific crime at hand. Kind of what Kimba said a moment ago, that it's regarding the comment about Fonnie Willis, that it's a bit of an overreach, a bit too broad. Sykes added that the introduction of lyrics is both an evidentiary problem and a free speech problem. I quote, "Nobody thinks that Johnny Cash really shot a man in Reno, right? There's a lot of really dark country music and other genres about all sorts of treacherous things that are a part of human existence. But nobody interprets that as an admission of some kind of criminal liability, he said. As you may know, Kim, but here in the state of California, where I sit right now, a couple of years ago, Gavin Newsom signed the Decriminalizing Artistic Expression Act, which made it the first state in the union to restrict the use of rap lyrics as evidence in state court. In New York, I know there was a bill a couple of years ago. I know it failed on its first attempt. I don't know if it ever passed, but they tried to do the same thing in New York. I think it was SB 7527. They were trying to do the same thing in New York as we've done here in California. That's a long way of asking whether or not, given the subject we've been discussing in this hour, the criminalization of rap lyrics, whether or not you think the conversation, what does this documentary, as we speak, say to us about the direction this conversation is headed in?
I hope this puts us in on the right path. I learned about the bill in California and talking to all these lawyers that I've been in contact with. That is a step in the right direction, but it doesn't have enough sort of teeth to really. They're finding loopholes left and right to be able to still use the lyrics in the cases. But it's a step in the right direction. Hopefully, the New York one will have less room for these loopholes, and then that'll set a precedent for the rest of the country. Hopefully. Yep.
And what do you hope the takeaway is? What do you hope viewers will glean from this documentary as we speak?
I hope that people are sort of able to see that this has been happening for so long, and that rap is just the latest iteration of it, and hopefully we can sort of change the public opinion from thinking that when you see somebody get stopped on the side of the road while you're driving, your first instinct is automatically like, what did they do? There's a sort of if they're in that position, they must be guilty kind of thing that goes on, and so we're hoping to sort of change that implicit bias, that prejudice that people have, and hopefully, if you're on a jury when lyrics are introduced, you could spot it. You could spot it and go, "Oh, okay, I know what they're doing." But my personal hope that people take away is that they know that the term rapper is just sort of used as a proxy for Black people that will help them sort of introduce these lyrics in court and get an easy conviction. Like what makes somebody a rapper to you? Like if they're not making a living off of it, then why are they being sort of labeled as a rapper? And it's because it makes it a whole lot easier.
The documentary is called As We Speak, again, shining a light, exposing the racism behind criminalizing rap lyrics. It happens a lot more than you think in courts all across this country. And when folk like Fonnie Willis are telling you up front, I'll use it if it leads to a conviction, it gives you a sense that, again, it's not even just white DAs who are engaged in this process. We thank Kimba for the documentary, and we thank him for this conversation. Kimba, all the best to you. Congrats on the new album, The Mess We Made, and the single, Hear No Evil. Good to have you on, brother. All the best to you.
Thank you. It's been fun.
I enjoyed it. Tomorrow, another great show for you. It's Super Tuesday, so we'll talk politics tomorrow with a number of guests, including Adam Schiff, who's the front runner to win this Senate seat in California. And in our third hour tomorrow, I think we're gonna get our laugh on. It's gonna be a serious day tomorrow, a serious week. A lot of politics this week. State of the Union address on Thursday. Government's got a deadline of Friday to avoid a government shutdown, and somehow in the midst of all this, we're gonna get our laugh on tomorrow for at least an hour with Lou Nell, who joins us live in the studio tomorrow. So another great show tomorrow. Thanks for tuning in today. As always, keep the faith.
KBLA 1580 Santa Monica.